podcast. It's a fucking podcast. It's a podcast.
We're doing a podcast. This is a test. It's probably going to be a shambles, but we're here. Hi, I'm Charlie.
How did you get this number? You shouldn't have my personal information. My name is Zen. I go by many names. Zenathan, the Watcher of the Winds. Zenkari, the Guardian of the Ancient Places. But you can call me Zen. Shall we start again? I really feel like it would be best for everyone involved if we just started again. No?
We've started, so we'll go on.
Great. That's great. Well, I feel like we've set the level of expectation for the podcast in the opening moments, so you know what you're getting. That's the emotional baseline of the experience, and we only go up from here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. That's right, we're doing a fucking podcast, and I think first on the agenda should, of course, be, what are we going to call the podcast?
I was just about to say that, Zen. I had a great idea for it yesterday, but I can't remember it anymore because I didn't write it down. Wow.
Well, that's a bit wordy, but I suppose we could call the podcast that. We could abbreviate it, you know.
Just letters.
Right. I was thinking, you know how we, some would say that we shamefully ripped off the name Not a Cult from Hat Films. I prefer to think of it as legitimate salvage. They weren't using it. It's maritime law, so that's why we're called Not a Cult. Also because we're not, it's just an accurate descriptor. But I was thinking we could apply the same logic of ripping something off and make this podcast that. So what podcast are we a big fan of, Charlie, you and me?
Yogpod?
No, the other one, the better one.
Triforce.
Yeah, Triforce. So, given that
better one, brutal.
Yeah, I mean, Simon's a has-been. Let's be honest. Don't put that in the podcast. If he ever listens to this, I feel like it's okay when Tom makes those jokes, but not me. And furthermore, if anyone listening isn't a fan of the CultCast, they're gonna have no idea what we're talking about. And this is I really think we should start again. This isn't what you should be aiming for with the opening minutes of your first ever podcast. This is a fucking shambles.
It's fine. Look, I've had a really weird day, Zen. I'm impatient to tell you about it. Can we just get on with the Sonic podcast?
All right, well, first order of business, the Triforce is called the Triforce because there's three of them. I think we should, because there's two of us, we should be the Biforce podcast.
Nice.
Works on multiple levels. Alternatively, we're both a fan of the Chilluminati. But we're not chill, are we, Charlie? We're ultra chill, so we should be the Ultra Chilluminati. Or, simply, Twat Chat.
Twat Chat's quite good. I feel like that would definitely get us not on the recommended list on YouTube, though.
I think we'll be on trending within 5 minutes of uploading this podcast. Like, if you're watching this now, right, on the YouTubes, first of all, congratulations for having survived YouTube and not gone over to Twitch like the rest of us. But secondly, just look down at the number of people who've watched this video so far, the number of views, if you will. And if it is less than 100,000 people right now, I am astounded. And you listening, you should be ashamed of yourself that number isn't higher. You should put this video on repeat every time you go in the shower or something, so we can get all that sweet YouTube money. We do make money off YouTube, right, Charlie?
No.
Ah, shit. End of podcast. Bye. Not interested anymore. I'm off.
Oh no, I'm not paying him for his time. He's gone. Oh no. Rip.
So anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the podcast. Charlie, I believe you have a podcast topic to discuss with me. I've just got my blanket caught in the wheels of my chair. Hold on. There we are. It's all right. I think you need to stop worrying quite so much about things in general and get on with the podcast. Come on. You've been derailing us since we started, Charlie.
Wait, oh shit, I'm tangled in my goddamn microphone
This
cable.
is actually embarrassing now. It's funny when I do it. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. Charlie, I believe you had a story to tell me and the audience listening at home.
Alright, well, we've been saving a catch-up for the podcast, right? But yesterday was thinking, God, since I last saw you, Zen, I've done fuck all.
Yeah. You have.
I was like, this
you've
is
been
going to be
very
the most boring podcast on my part. And then today has just been fucking weird. It's been just mental. So, first of all, it's a Friday, FYI. You might be aware of that, Zen.
Is it? I thought
it is.
Oh, good. That means I can drink more heavily than normal.
No, it is in fact a Friday. But Harry was not at work today because he took.
Yeah, I was
going to
shout him about that. Yeah. What's he not doing at work for? Period.
Because he has 3 days of holiday, so he decided to take Friday off, and then he's going to take like a day off each week until Christmas, so he has a shorter week. But basically, so we've been going down to my parents every weekend since we moved up to Newcastle, so we've had like no free time at all to do anything. Because it's like a 3-hour drive there and a 3-hour drive back, so it takes up most of your day. So he took the day off, and we thought, oh shit, we'll actually go do something, because we live in Wallsend, which is right on the east coast end of Hadrian's Wall.
Is it?
Yeah, that's actually where the wall stops.
Ah, I thought that was way further north than that.
No, it's great.
Right, you keep talking. I'm going to Google a map of Hadrian's Wall.
Okay, sure. So, we decided to go to the actual wall's end, because there's a fort at the end of it, or the ruins of a fort, but it's not really there anymore. And it's like 5-10 minute walk from our house. And we still haven't seen it, even though we've lived here for like 2.5-3 months.
Understandable. Leaving the house sucks ass. There's no video games out there.
I know.
So...
I've heard bad things about the graphics,
Don't try and be funny. Huh? That's why I'm here, okay? If you take that away from me, I don't have anything. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. Charlie, you went to a wall.
I did. I went to a wall. It had a fort in it, and it also has a museum there and some Roman baths, but the Roman baths were closed because this is the last week it's open, like this time of year, because it's closed over the winter. So we walked around, we saw a fort, it was cool. We saw some Roman shit. I took some dumb photos of Harry dressed up like a Roman emperor, which will soon be on Instagram.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing that.
I don't know. We had fun, and then it got to like 1 o'clock, and I was like, oh well, we don't have to go back yet. Actually, no, it was like 12. It was like 12, and we were supposed to record the podcast this afternoon, and we were like, oh well, we need to go to the reptile shop and buy something for Gex.
Do you want to explain who Gex is for people?
Oh yeah, Gex is a gecko. I have 2 geckos. One's called T and one's called Gex. But they were in very small cages when we moved in, and so we bought them some new tanks. I'm
very glad about that. I always felt awful when we lived together that they were in such small boxes. I should say for the record, if there's an animal rights charity listening, they weren't in like an inch by an inch box forced to stand up. They were fine. It met the minimum requirements. It's just, if you're living in the box for 27 years, you want a nice big box.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's what I've been doing. I mean, I'm only 24, but I plan to spend 27 years in a box, and not even a physical box, just a mental box. I really like to limit my own potential. That's why I'm doing this podcast. There we go. Let's just tick that off. Make a joke. There we go. That's a very important thing to do on a podcast.
Yeah, you're gonna meet that quota,
Yeah, exactly. Right, so go on then. You were getting Gex some stuff for her shelves.
No, she has like they're like hammocks, like the bearded dragon hammocks. We got them one of those each, because they're quite tall, the tanks. So I was like, might as well use that space. So. But yeah, so T's cage is really nice because she got hers earlier, so it's all like set up and cool, and it looks like an actual environment should look.
Oh, good. I've just googled bearded dragon hammock.
But then Gex is too small to reach her hammock, so we had to go get a big log so that she can climb up to it.
No, she is so small. Like,
geckos
are small already, and she is just tiny. She's like half the size of a normal gecko her age.
But no, so she's been watching last year's CultCast Jingle Jam with me. I think because it's really blue.
Yeah,
She likes
for some
blue.
reason they like the colour blue, don't they?
They do.
So another favourite of Gex the Gecko is the Jeremy Kyle show, of course.
True.
Big fan of the Jeremy Kyle show.
So yeah, the new tanks are like all glass, so now she can see the TV properly. So we bought a massive fucking log, is basically the point of this section of the story. And to get this log, we had to get
This
on
is
the
my
metro.
favourite section so far, if anything. I'm most happy hearing about the massive log. And now you're getting on the metro. I mean, like, this just keeps getting more high octane. First, you looked at a wall, then you wrapped Harry up in a fancy towel, then you got a big log, and now you're on a train. Not even just any train, like a shit train.
To get the log, we had to get on the metro. So
Right,
we went
okay.
like 2 towns over to like Chillingham, I think it's called. And
I
we
don't like Chillingham. I much prefer Ultra Chillingham.
Anyway, moving on. So we got on the metro, which is like an underground tram thing in Newcastle, except it's
Right.
overground in Wallsend. So it's underground in the centre, and then it comes up like a tram.
It's like an underground train, but not underground.
Yeah, that is what I just said, isn't it?
What you've just described there is a train.
So anyway, we got on that. We went a couple of stops over. We got off, and there's a retail park with a Pets at Home in it as you get off. And this reptile shop's like a friggin' half-an-hour walk from the metro stop. It's ages, and it's like freezing, and I could see my breath like fog. So we walk all the way to the reptile shop, and we buy a log and a new water bowl, and then we walk all the way back. And then we go in Pets at Home, and I went in to get some nail scissors because I've lost them for the guinea pigs, and they keep stabbing me with their nails.
She's not even like when she's picking them up or anything. They just like jump out of the cage, come up and just put their paw in front of her legs and just jab her with the claws while she's trying to watch the Jingle Jam with a lizard. I want to watch the Jingle Jam. You can't see more than 2 feet in front of your face. All right, that's not my fault, is it? Blame your evolution. Me. I'm a stroppy guinea pig. Me. That's how they talk.
That is pretty much how they talk, yeah. But yes, so it went a bit more crazy at that point because we went in Pets at Home, and I'm looking round as you do, all the pets.
Yep.
Got what I came in for, and I went to look at the adoption section.
Oh.
And in there is a little guinea pig called Leon, who's a little boy on his own. And I walked around, and there's a little girl on her own called Brittany, of all things.
Leon, good name for a guinea pig. It's a nice name on its own. It's also an area in Spain and a historical kingdom. Brilliant, prestigious name, proud name for any animal. What's that? Brittany? Washed up pop star, mate. Yeah, you drew the short straw there, didn't you, Brittany? Brittany the guinea pig. Jesus.
So I asked about Brittany because it said like on her, they have like a piece of paper that tells you information about them.
Yeah.
So basically it said, I am looking for a home because I need extra care, blah, blah, blah. So I asked about her. I was like, oh, what's the extra care? And basically her cage mate died, and she's just really, really upset and depressed.
Aww.
And her owner was a little girl who then got bored of her, and so her parents just left her at the adoption centre.
Oh.
But other than that, totally healthy. And I thought, I'm going to take her home.
Did you do that today? Did you actually?
I did.
Oh.
This whole story was today. So downstairs right now is an adorable little guinea pig, another Abyssinian like Brooke. So her hair's like crazy all over the place.
Why haven't you shown
and she's
me
got
a
like a
picture?
big black face.
I should stay.
We only got back about an hour ago.
Oh, okay, and then Harry was there fucking about with your audio settings.
Yeah, and a log.
And a log, yeah.
So.
I should say for the people at home that we used to live together in Sheffield when we were at university, and we had these guinea pigs together, and then Charlie took them up to Newcastle because she's better at looking after them, and I missed the fuck out of them, and now you've got another one. I'm so jealous. How many? So basically, I've gone from having 2 guinea pigs to having 0, and you've gone from having 2 to having 3.
Essentially, yes.
Hey, you know what we could do in future? We could leave a camera running in the guinea pig enclosure and like overlay the footage of the podcast onto the guinea pigs. So because we need some sort of USP and really we are not that. I should say for the record, that there's you probably can't hear it, Charlie, but it'll show up on my recording. There is a fucking house alarm that's been going off outside my window for about half an hour, and it is driving me fucking mental. Why did it choose now? Why did it choose now of all times to go off? So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, what's that persistent whistling in the background? Yeah, it's worse for me, trust me. I'm right next to the fucker. You can turn off this podcast. You can walk away and get on with your life. I can't. I'm stuck here.
But please don't.
Yeah, but please don't. In fact, cut that out, Charlie. We don't want to leave any impression that people have a choice in the matter other than to stay. So... I mean, that's just good practice for a cult, which would not, obviously, but... Okay, what's the... Brittany, then? Are you going to rename her?
Obviously. God, I'm not sticking with Brittany. So obviously we've had Ember, Brooke, and Willow.
Well, Noodle.
So we need another... Well, yeah.
She's called Willow, but we needed to give her a nickname because we had to take her to the vets when we first got her before we'd named her, and they were like, give us a name, we need to register as a name, and we were like, oh shit, well, she's a really, really long, thin guinea pig, so we'll call her Noodle for now. Okay, I'll try and think of some good guinea pig names to go in with it.
I'm tempted to call her like Cole or Soot or something,
Cole
because
is
her
nice.
Entire face is just entirely black, and the rest of his white.
It's like she's just put her face in a bag of coal. Yeah, I think Cole's a really nice name, but spelt C-O-A-L, not C-O-L-E.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Because that's a nature, and as a geology, I can confirm that it is sort of water related, like Brooke is, and obviously like Ember is. And Cole's Ember. And also Willow's there. No, Cole could...
Also Willow's there.
Willows, when they die, could become coal. Now I'm actually just talking about geology. I'm not even talking about guinea pig names anymore. I'm actually just giving you a geology lesson. Do you want to know more about the formation of coal? It happens in generally like swamps and river deltas and that sort of place. Tend to go through cycles. I think they're called like... I can't remember what the cycles are called. There's like usually different layers of stone over and over again. There's like the sandstone, then there's a siltstone, then a mudstone, and then some coal, and then the cycle starts again. Fascinating stuff. I should tell you. I had to do that for I was privileged to do that for 4 years at school. No, I do love geology, but I can't remember fucking any of it. Much like a lot of things I've learned in my life, I can't remember any of it. What's that? School wasn't a waste of time? Yeah, you're probably right. I'll take your word for it. At least I remember the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, eh? That's come in helpful so many times. So I've come across a woman once. My turn for a story now. I came across a woman lying in the street bleeding out, and I looked at her, and instantly I knew her mitochondria didn't have enough, oil for the powerhouse furnaces of each cell. So I got a bottle of olive oil and I poured it over this woman who was bleeding, and she miraculously recovered. And if I hadn't been to high school, I would not have known how to do that, and she would have died. So hooray for education.
What the fuck was that story?
Look,
what the actual
I'm
fuck?
actually going insane. I'm actually going insane because the fucking whistling outside my window is killing me. I'll just explain as well. I woke up pretty late today and a bit hungover, and I've just been waiting to do the podcast. So you weren't online, so I didn't know you were. I didn't want to send you any messages because, I didn't think you'd get them. So what I've done is spent the entire day making a Jingle Cats remix of Pleasure Elf to send into the Jingle Jam. And
oh my god,
just listening over and over again for about 3 or 4 hours, just constant abrasive noise and then cats meowing. Like, it's not a particular... It's like when I was doing GCSE music and I was like, oh, I'm going to write my music piece to be like a really heavy metal song. And then I realised that I had to sit at a computer for about 20 hours a week fucking listening to double bass pedal in my headphones over and over again, and it nearly killed me. So I was already in a bit of a headache, and then the siren started outside. I mean, not to mention listening to you talk. Obviously, that makes it just 10 times worse.
Wow. I was about to empathise with the joy of editing, but no, all empathy gone.
Well, you're going to have to edit this, and I just want you to, every time
so I'm
you
gonna
get
listen to your voice
when you get to
over and
this
over
point,
again.
when you get to this point in the editing process, I just want you to sit back and think about your life choices, and think what led me to this moment, having to listen to Zen for the second or possibly third or fourth time criticise me in such a manner. And just have a little existential crisis. Just a little one, a healthy one that everyone should have once in a while. It's happening again. I just open my mouth and words come out. I don't know what's happening now. I'm genuinely going fucking insane. I mean, this happens to me a bit when we're live streaming, as I'm sure you know, which is useful because there's usually other people there to shout over me and shut me down when I just start chatting utter bollocks. The problem is if I'm just talking to you and you're just like, let us listen to what Zen has to say. And I'm like, the other thing about coal is that, like, when it's in the ground, it's different from when it's not, because there's less fire involved, and also ships, and it doesn't. You need to know when to shut me down.
I am just going to interrupt you, just in order to read the conversation from Discord that you had with Harry that I came back to.
Oh dear.
Here we see. Zen said, yo, this is on my Discord, by the way. He sent it to me, but Harry was sitting at the computer doing some audio settings for me. He said, yo, hey, you twat. Stop looking at me. I'll shit in your face and I'll piss in your tea.
I don't think you're giving that conversation the sort of reverence and respect it deserves. Do you want to act it out? Just the last few bits from fuck off Harry to Serial Bros. Okay, and you be me and I'll be Harry. Change it up. We're gonna do a dramatic reading. Okay.
Wait, who's gonna be who?
You're gonna be me and I'm gonna be Harry.
All right. Fuck off, Harry. You're not invited to the podcast.
Give it more emotion. Come on, Charlie. People are listening.
That's all my emotion. That's venomous hatred for me, then. I have very little going on emotionally.
Yeah, I know. I've been friends with you for a while. I'm setting up her audio. I know. Thank God I have cereal to eat.
Why are you a ghost from an 80s movie?
Look, I think you need to respect my performance, okay? I'm good at this. I have a certificate.
Do you?
Yeah.
What is that qualification in exactly?
Geology.
Oh my god. I feel like we've gone very off the rails. Zen, you said you had a plan for some topics for the podcast?
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, good. Just to explain my thought process here, I got really drunk last night and I was watching YouTube videos and just every time they said something interesting, I was like, that'll make a great podcast topic, and I wrote it down. And then I woke up this morning and I've got these post-it notes with scribbles on all over my desk, and I'm just like, what the actual fuck was I thinking? So on that note, what's the most badass thing you've ever seen in real life? You can be broad with that, you can, stories that happened, no hearsay, but if something happened to a friend of yours, just not historical. Don't be saying well, when King Leopold II said this, another man said this. No, you're missing the point entirely there, Charlie. I don't want to hear about King Leopold II. I want to hear about you.
I don't actually think I've done much that's badass.
No, me neither.
Myself.
No, I haven't either.
I mean, I climbed over a fence the other day. My garden fence. I locked myself out. I lost my back door keys.
I am so glad I don't live with you anymore. It's just a constant barrage of, oh, we have to go back. I've left my phone. 5 minutes down the road. Oh, it's in my pocket.
That's true.
It is true. Everything that comes out of my mouth is true. Even the lies. Especially the lies. Since
all of your podcast topics are garbage.
No, I have some good ones.
Alright, go on.
If there was an alien invasion, where do you think humanity should make its last stand? Symbolically. Because all these movies...
So, are you going to die? Is it, predetermined that you're going to die?
No, it's if you were writing a science fiction or something, and
Oh, right,
there's
okay.
like you know, like, because it's always like the alien ships come down over Washington or something, or the Reapers in Mass Effect, you know, they invaded London, and you know, obviously there are outliers like in Halo. The Covenant put all of their troops in East Africa, or at least the majority of them, and then like there's obviously District 9 with the fucking prawns fucking coming in over Johannesburg, fucking prawns eating all our cat food. So yeah, where do you think would make a good story for humanity to make its final stand against the aliens?
I would make it somewhere really weird, like just somewhere really bizarre.
You mean
that
like
think of.
like Sheffield?
Yeah, like Sheffield or the centre of Newcastle, Wallsend.
So, like, you know, the aliens are invading, the last heroes of humanity are battling them valiantly, and there's just like a smackhead wandering around in the background. Got any H?
Should we put it in biker?
Got any H? He just like fucking like gets blown away with a plasma rifle. You know, terrible. It's a terrible state of affairs. We need to save them. I don't know why you're not taking this more seriously. This is why we have to fight off the aliens in a symbolic fashion at a predetermined location. It's to save these smackheads from clear and present destruction. So have you got any podcast topics?
I have. So I'm going to take some podcast topics from our Discord.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
That people have sent us in.
I forgot that there were people.
Max has sent us one. He was the first one to give us a topic idea because, of course, Max has submitted one. It says, tell us about the growing global threat of the feeling of the colour yellow.
Well, I don't think that there is any such thing. I think the colour yellow is good. It's the colour of Hufflepuff House, the best house.
Oh no, it's the colour of stupidity.
You are so prejudiced. Who are all the best people in Harry Potter? That's right, it's Hogwarts. It's Hogwarts? It's Hufflepuff.
It's the school!
Hufflepuff's right. They're chilled out. They're really nice. They're hardworking. They're loyal. They just like, you know, they like food and stuff. You know, what's everyone else doing? Gryffindor's running around.
They're like cats.
Yeah,
what
basically.
you're saying is they're cats.
They're cats, but they're friendlier. They like combine all the best elements of dogs and cats. And, you know, occasionally they get killed by Voldemort, but not all the time. Next question.
I feel like we 100% answered that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Max, if that is your real name, thank you for sending in that topic.
So there's one from Bio that says, what was your favourite video games from childhood?
So RuneScape, definitely.
Old school RuneScape.
Old school RuneScape, yeah, they didn't have fake RuneScape 3 when I was a child.
Well, it depends what you define as childhood. I mean, 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago, I was 19.
Oh yeah, we were legally adults. All right, 10 years ago.
You dumbass. Yeah, 10 years ago, they didn't have RuneScape 3. So you've just proved my point. I liked, I don't know, when I was like a teenager, my favourite game, almost certainly Gears of War, the original, or maybe Gears of War 2. Those are some excellent games. Mass Effect 3, I think, is possibly one of my favourite games of all time, which is great because every time you say that, some fucking nerd throws his toys out the pram and goes, "Me, but the ending was shit." No, it wasn't. The ending was fine. I don't know why people complain about that so much. The ending was fine. I had a great time. That's one of my favourite games ever. Since we were talking about Hogwarts, what I had, actually, I've just found a copy that I bought last year, but on the Game Boy, I had a Game Boy SP, you know, the first ones that had a flippy screen.
Oh yeah.
And there were the Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban on Game Boy, not on the other consoles, but on Game Boy. It was amazing because it was a pixel art like RPG with an overworld. You would walk around Hogwarts and then there would be like a monster, and if you ran into the monster, like Final Fantasy, if you ran into the monster, you'd go into a turn-based combat and you would have all of the spells, like you would learn spells and like you would be able to use them in this turn-based combat, and you could like identify creatures to find out what they were going to be weak to and shit. And there was like so much stuff in that game. There was like
that's pretty
fucking
cool.
chocolate frogs. There was gear. There was like a gear system. It was like a full-on fucking RPG. It was amazing. But my favourite part about it is when you finally beat the game. I think like the penultimate baddie's like Draco Malfoy for no fucking reason. He's not in that bit of the books or films at all. But, you know, you fight Draco Malfoy, and then when you win the game, you can, like, essentially new game plus it, except it doesn't really scale. So it basically just stays the same. So I had a playthrough on this game where I had completed the game multiple times and just kept going. So I was just like an insane high level. I was able to just one-shot pretty much everything in the game. And I got, like, even the final boss was just like no bother at all because I played through it so many times. I played that game to death and I absolutely fucking loved it. I actually bought it, like I said, I bought it again recently because I got a Game Boy. I haven't really played it, and the reason for that is I got an original Game Boy, not an SP, and it's just absolutely awful. Oh, sorry, Game Boy Advance, I should say. But it's absolutely awful. There's no backlight to the screen isn't lit. And I didn't remember this, and then it's just so bad. I don't know if my one is a bit broken, but you just cannot see anything. It's absolutely awful.
It was pretty terrible back when they didn't have backlights on stuff.
I mean,
I remember, I can't remember what I had actually, but I just remember that it had no backlight. I don't think it was a Game Boy. It was a very long time ago.
Was it like a hang on. Let's Google this. Sega handheld. There's a joke here somewhere. No, I can't find it. I think Sega had like this handheld thing, and it was absolutely... Oh, the Game Gear, that was it. Sega Game Gear.
I think that might be what I had.
Amazing. It was so bad.
But yeah, and then I got a Nintendo DS when I was a teenager. That was like the pinnacle of awesome. So I played through like the first couple of Harry Potter games on that. That was pretty good. But yeah, I mostly played simulation stuff actually when I was a kid. You know, like SimCity 2000, Transport Tycoon. Never played Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I might actually play it on stream at some point because I really want to play it.
Oh, okay. See, I played like theme park. And theme hospital.
Oh yeah, I had like a veterinary hospital one. I can't remember what that was. I also had like a demo disc for some flight simulator. And I had Space Station Simulator, and I still have all these discs. Oh, and Lemmings. Fucking love Lemmings.
Fucking Lemmings. There's nothing to it.
It's just therapeutic. It's just nice. I used to play it when I was like just chilled out, you know? It's just a nice, easy puzzle game. It's cool. Okay, right. Sorry, this one's from Sam. It says, "Is the Twitch gaming scene too saturated?" Yes.
Next podcast.
Next topic.
Too saturated. It's too saturated for us because people watch people who aren't us. Like, it doesn't make any sense that it's too saturated. It is what it is.
I mean, it's not too saturated if you're a channel that gets a lot of views.
I'd much rather it be too saturated than it be not too saturated enough. The whole point of it is that it's completely democratic. It's completely democratic, and if you just watch people you like, there's nothing to it. Like, obviously YouTube doesn't work like that anymore. It used to.
Yeah.
But it's perfect for me. Like, I love it exactly the way it is because it caters to such incredibly diverse tastes. Even if most people are just playing Jackbox. Twitch, I'll take that 20 million now. Thank you very much. Oh, and a purple hoodie, please.
Yeah, I'd love a purple hoodie. All right, this one is from Roller Runner, if that is your real name.
I don't think that is his real name.
So he says, "What counts as a sandwich?"
What counts as a sandwich? It has to be made. It has to have bread. Okay.
But does it? Because there's ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah, they're not fucking sandwiches. All right?
They are though. It's an ice cream sandwich, and it's kind of bread because it's a wafer. Wafer's kind of bread.
No.
Bread-based thing.
Yeah, well, pasta's kind of bread as well, if you put it like that.
No, it's not.
I mean, just because something's in the name doesn't mean that it is that thing, okay? Because, you know, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, not democratic. Has to be bread. An open sandwich is not a sandwich. It is a fucking abomination.
But I've got a question for you.
It's an uncooked pizza.
Is a burger a sandwich? Because that's bread with something in it, and it's closed.
I'd say technically, absolutely, that's a sandwich. Just because it's hot doesn't mean, and round doesn't mean it's not a sandwich.
I think that is basically
you know,
the only difference. It's just round. Because a sausage sandwich is still a sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Next.
This one's from Harry. It says, favourite Warhammer armies and why? Well, you play 40k, don't you?
Yep.
I've moved
I
to
play
Sigmar.
40k. Charlie sent me a message the other day telling me she'd started playing Age of Sigmar, and she expected me to not be disgusted by that fact. Like, it's not that, like, Warhammer Fantasy is fine, it's just that now it's Age of Sigmar, it's a lot more shit. And I, like, if you play Age of Sigmar and you're listening, someone's listening, what a great joke. But if you play Age of Sigmar, you know, fine, you know, you probably know more about it than me. I'm not trying to shit on stuff people like, unless you're Charlie, in which case I absolutely am doing that. But I liked Warhammer Fantasy back in the day. I didn't play a lot of it, but I did like Warhammer Fantasy. And then Age of Sigmar rolled around, and I was like, I'm so not going to bother with that. It's just a shit version of 40k anyway. 40k is one of the best things I've that favorite childhood game. There, Warhammer 40k. That's it. That's absolutely it. It's brilliant. My favourite army has historically always been the Eldar. I never lost a single game of Warhammer 40k in all of the years I played it. I never lost a game with my Eldar unless I was teamed up with somebody. Like when I played with friends on my side, as you know, we're like a 2v2, or I played in a huge group campaign at a Games Workshop once. I lost then, but I never lost a single 1v1 with my Eldar army.
Did you only play like 2 games though?
Yeah, that was the secret to my success. I actually only played one. One and a half. Funnily enough, actually, a lot of the games you could technically say I didn't win, because if I was playing against my mate Nick, he would always start playing and I would start trouncing him. We wouldn't even have to get that far into the game, like 3 or 4 turns in. Well, to be fair, you know, some games only last 6, but you know what I mean? Like, we're pretty early on in the game. I would move my forces into position, and he probably just sort of looked at it and thought, that's going to be too much effort to deal with this. And then he just basically fucked off and started playing on the computer instead. And I all the time. He did this all the time. He was so annoying about it. But I played against... I didn't just play against, like, a couple of my own mates. Like, I played people in the shop, like, every Sunday. I used to get on the bus every Sunday. It was at a period in my life when I didn't really have any friends. I'd, like, basically just, like... I wasn't friends with the people I had been when I was a kid anymore, and I'd like just broken up with someone, so I wasn't hanging out with those people. And I was like, okay, well, I don't really hang out with many people that much anymore. I've got to I'll go do something social. I'll go play Warhammer every weekend with the people in the shop. Yeah, and that was really fun. I decided when we came back to Warhammer, I wouldn't play Eldar again, largely because the army I painted was from when I was a kid, and they're all absolutely awful. So I didn't think I should re-buy all of the Eldar figures and paint them again, because that's a waste of money. But at the same time, I didn't want to use the models that I had from my childhood, because they're fucking just disgustingly badly painted. So I was like, I'll play something else. Every time I tried to choose a new army to play, like, because don't get me wrong, I like loads of others, but every single time I was like, I'll start collecting Warhammer again, I was like, well, I just want to play Eldar. Every single time I just came back to Eldar. So I think in the end I decided, I mean, thematically, I really like the Death Corps of Krieg. I really like Slaanesh, but not the Noise Marines, not the fucking pink Noise Marines, because they're just shit. I just don't like them. We need to make this giant fucking power armored monster more Slaanesh-y. How do we do that? Just make it pink and give it a sonic cannon. No, that's a terrible idea. I don't mind. I like things being pink, but when you're in power armor, it just looks dumb as hell.
Yeah, you kind of look like a Power Ranger on steroids.
Yes, that is the title of this first episode of the podcast. A Power Ranger on steroids. We've done it. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. What about you?
Well, I've started collecting Seraphon, which are like the dinosaur people. But I like the...
Lizard men.
Yeah, the lizard men.
Lizard men.
Yeah. But I like I think it's Sylvaneth. They're like the tree people. The tree bastards.
Do you mean like the wood elves? Like I feel they've just done this in Warhammer 40k as well. Like, are you collecting Imperial Guard?
Yeah, it's now
no,
totally.
I'm collecting
Yeah.
Astra Militarum.
Yeah.
No, you're fucking not. You're playing Imperial Guard. Fuck off. And then they turn and look at you and they say, the Codex Astartes does not support this action. And they pull out a big serrated knife and they try to stab you for not calling Imperial Guard the correct name. And that's exactly what happens every time you walk into a Games Workshop, which is why the stores are closing down at such an alarming rate. It's because people keep stabbing each other over the name of the fucking Imperial Guard. That's libel. That's libel and slander. I'd like to say, for the record, I am not aware of any stabbings ever having taken place in a Games Workshop shop. Please don't revoke my $20 million sponsorship deal. I need the money to buy Warhammer. It's called plastic crack for a reason.
But yeah, so that's what I'm playing. But me and Harry are going to go down to Games Workshop, I think next weekend or something, and play a game.
That would be really, really exciting if you were playing a real Warhammer game and not Age of Sigmar. I have a segment planned for the end, by the way. So do you want to, it'll take about 5-10 minutes.
Right, well, I have one more topic left. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not really sure what it's referencing. It's from Mr. Gummy Owl. It says, topic, the unlikelihood of the hairline triplets happening, but they do anyway. I don't know, is that a reference to you, Harry, and Ice? Because you all have the same hairlines?
Oh, that must be it. I was like, me and Harry have the same hairline. Is he saying, when will we discover a third? But no, I forgot about Ice's hairline.
We already have
Ice, if you're listening.
The third.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to apologise for forgetting your hairline, Ice. It's just that your Discord picture is a cat. So, you can understand.
I can.
I'm sure.
Oh, wait, there's one left. Sam says, topic, basically, what are our thoughts on the issues regarding Fallout 76? And my response to that is I have not played it, have not seen it, and frankly, I'm not going to play it. On to you, Zen.
Well, I mean, it looks shit. End of sentence. It looks bad. Like, it looks bad. Like, I love Fallout. Cards on the table, I still, to this day, have not played Fallout 4, but I'm going to... there's mostly because I know when I get... I've been at uni, and I know when I get that game, I will do nothing for a month apart from play that game. So I still haven't played it years after it came out. But yeah, Fallout 4 I still haven't played. Really, really looking forward to... Ooh, Fallout 76. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, it's online. How could this be interesting? I saw a tiny bit of detail about it and went, oh, it's going to be shit. Oh, and it was shit, and that's it. It looks fine. You know what I mean? It just looks so uninteresting. I'd just like to say before we get into the final segment, if anyone is still wondering why is Zen called Zen? Why doesn't he use his real name? Well, it's because of this. Like, when I start recording something, there's something about being with a microphone in front of my head and headphones on my head and just screens in front of me. It's like my brain completely shuts down and I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. So it kind of helps to have that separation between the real me and the me that just goes, have I told you about coal? Actually, that's a really bad example in particular because I love talking about coal, like in real life. Both IG and IRL. Now that that's out of the way, you said you wanted me to plan like some topics for the podcast, and I thought, well, here's the thing. A lot of podcasts, they have like a big hitter. They have like something that really brings in the audience, something it's known for. Obviously, on the Triforce podcast, they have Bodega, and on the Chilluminati, they I know it's not really a podcast, but for a while they were doing Cheese Quest. So I was thinking, what's something we can do to really spice up as a regular end segment to spice up the podcast a little bit. I'm going to send you something now, Charlie, and you're going to put it on screen in the podcast, okay? At this moment.
Oh my god.
Gin Quest.
Oh my god, that is amazing. You're going to have to make me a thumbnail version of that.
I will make you a thumbnail version of that. Charlie, I'm going to need you to open up this app, this D20 app, okay? Because you're going to go on an adventure, okay?
Right.
You've got very important gin-based work to do.
Right.
And I'm going to need you... The only thing you're going to need is... There's a thing on there for a D20.
Yep.
And you don't need to worry about any of the other things, okay? Just that D20.
Yep.
And here is your character sheet, okay?
Oh my god.
Right. Are you ready? Are you ready, Charlie?
Sure. Go on.
Your name is Charlotte Ginsbury. You are part of a crack team of top level gin scientists researching the mysterious properties of gin. It is late at night and you are at home at your computer working hard on your latest project, a study into the mind-enhancing effects of certain blends of gin. Of course, as a responsible scientist, you have been drinking quite heavily. After all, this project is very important and needs to be finished by tomorrow morning. Your entire gin research team is counting on you, Charlotte Ginsbury. You notice your glass is empty. How you could be expected to work properly without a constant and consistent supply of gin is unthinkable in the modern age. So you reach for the last of the many bottles of gin strewn around your office. But, disaster. The bottle is empty. You are out of gin, and this very important gin-based research needs to be completed urgently. It is critical to the continued success of the world's gin-based economy. Breathing hard, you calm yourself down. It's okay. You remember, Charlotte, that there is a local gin emporium, or ginporium, if you will, not 10 minutes walk from your house, and you can simply pop down and get more gin, and you can complete your work. But it is raining hard outside, and you don't want to get soaked. After all, you are far too drunk to drive safely. What do you do?
I put on a jacket.
Okay, good. Yeah. Can you make me a perception roll? Okay, just roll the d20 and I'll explain.
I got a 2, which is not great.
You got a 2. No. That's good. You just basically the skills just go from 1 to 20. If you roll under the skill in the check, you pass. So you needed to get 11 or less. So you successfully find your coat. You can put on your jacket, so you're not going to get fucking soaked, all right, when you go outside. Good. We've passed the first hurdle to getting more gin. The fact that you were able to find your coat while so fucking drunk is frankly a miracle.
Can't even do that sober.
But there you go. You did it. Exactly. Now just check before you leave the house. Just check your phone's in there, okay? And your key. Just so you don't have to.
All my pockets. Just 1 second. Yeah, oh no, okay. It's not in there. God, where is it then?
Okay.
Help! I don't know where it is.
Oh wait, hang on.
Sorry.
DM,
it's in my back pocket. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, you've got it. Okay, that's fine. You found your phone. Yep. You lost your phone and then found it in the same pocket in which you lost it, which is to be, it's to be expected. So you're in your coat. You're in your house. I presume you're downstairs by the door now. What do you do?
I put on a pair of shoes and unlock the door.
Okay. I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think that's fairly, you should be able to do that as a functioning human being.
The keys were already in the door, so I can't possibly lose them.
Okay, that's fine, right? Okay, the keys are already in the door. You step out into the rain, okay? You pull up your hood. I assume your jacket has a hood, Charlie.
It does, yes.
Excellent. Your jacket has a hood, and you pull it up. Make me a reflexes check.
11.
11? Okay, you fail to put up your hood because you are so drunk. Do you maybe want to try again?
No, apparently it's too windy to put up my hood.
Okay, it's too windy outside to put up your hood. I actually have that written down here. I don't. So you set off down to the ginporium, okay? Mm-hmm. The trip goes uneventfully. It's cold, but you feel quite warm because obviously you've been drinking a lot of gin.
Yep.
You go down to the ginporium, all right? You see it there at the end of the road. Unlike the supermarkets of old, which sold all manner of goods and services and had only a small section for gin, this reputable establishment sells gin first and foremost, with everything else needed for modern life rightfully relegated to second place on its shelves. You are now stood outside the ginporium.
Right, I go inside the ginporium.
Okay, you go to open the door. You outstretch your hand, but as you are about to hold the handle to open it, the door flies open and a man runs out panicked. His clothes are soaked in gin. You can tell it's gin. It fucking stinks of gin, okay? And he grabs on to the front of your shirt and hangs on as if for dear life. And he says, "Help! Help! They're taking all the gin!" Okay, make me a reflexes check.
6.
6, okay. You notice as he is panicking and shouting at you at point blank range. It really fucking hurts your ears, by the way. You notice there is a group of men in the shop stealing gin, putting it into big sacks, and one of them has just turned towards the man and thrown what looks like a shard of glass from a gin bottle at him. And you, having passed your reflexes check, duck out of the way and pull him behind the wall of the Ginporium.
Woo! I saved a guy.
I want you to make me... You saved a guy. You saved the gin salesman.
Yeah.
You can tell from his uniform, he is the local Ginporium salesman.
Right.
Okay, and he's a pillar of the community, as you can understand. Everyone needs their gin.
I do.
So you did a good thing by saving his life. Okay, I want you to make me a gin law check.
8.
8, excellent. You look around at the people in the shop stealing gin, and you can see, okay, from the markings on their clothes, let's say. I was going to say face and then realised, hang on a second, do I really want to write these characters to all have face tattoos? I mean, like, that'll really limit me later on. Every time they want to go out in public without being noticed, they have to put on huge amounts of foundation just to cover up these faces. Now, they're all wearing t-shirts, okay? They're all wearing t-shirts.
It's like a
on the
book club.
t-shirt...
Yeah.
It's like a club, yeah. And on the t-shirts, you can see written, Vodka Revolutionary Front. And because you passed your gin law test, Charlie, you know who these people are. They are a dangerous group of domestic terrorists who want to tear down the gin-based structure of the world and let in its place rise the Republic of Vodkonia, which of course would be terrible because vodka is much, much more inferior to gin.
It is.
These are a dangerous group of people. But they're taking the gin, and you know that they cannot be allowed to have it. What do you do?
I pull a gun out of my pocket, which I originally thought was my phone when I left the house. And I take aim at the first one through the glass window.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna have to demand that you... Shit, why did I name intelligence gin law? It sounded so funny at the time, and now I'm regretting it. I'm going to need you to make me a gin law test, okay? Roll the fucking dice.
13.
Okay, you do actually have a gun that you thought was your phone. Being a responsible gin-based researcher, you are aware of the danger of the Vodka Revolutionary Front, and you have that gun stored just for this kind of scenario. So you take aim. I'm going to need you to make a reflexes check now.
19.
You shoot fucking nowhere near him. Like, absolutely nowhere. You are basically facing the other way. You had your back to the wall next to the door, and what you meant to do is swing around, look in through the door, and shoot at the man. What you actually did is just stand there and pull the trigger, and the bullet goes straight into the floor between your feet. Okay? The people inside have now had a chance to react. One of them in the leader, he looks like the leader of the book club. And he shouts at the others. You can't hear what he says, but they grab the bags of gin and they scamper out of the back, leaving only the leader to face you down. And he pulls from his pockets a pair of vodka bottles, the Smirnoff, really bad vodka as well. He pulls 2 bottles of Smirnoff out of his fucking pockets.
Aldi own brand.
And he stands there. Aldi, own brand vodka. Of course, there hasn't been an Aldi for over 2 centuries because they didn't sell enough gin. So, these are antiques, these are. And he's wielding them like clubs. And he starts advancing on the door where you are stood, shooting fucking nowhere near him. What do you do?
I rolled barrel of my revolver to get another bullet.
You what? You roll the
I reload it. There was only 1 bullet in the chamber,
reload.
but I have some more.
Okay.
So I have to reload my gun.
Okay, so there was only 1 bullet, okay, because you're not, you're really, really intelligent, apparently. So you only keep 1 bullet in a gun that is built for 5 or 6. So excellent. Good job there. You reload it. Can I ask, Charlie, do you reload just a single bullet, or do you put in the recommended
bullet. I only have
amount?
1 left.
Okay. You only have 1 bullet left. This has raised the stakes. I didn't even intend for this, Charlie. You've raised the stakes all by yourself. This is critical now that you do not miss. I assume you want to take aim and try and gun down the dangerous vodka
I aim
terrorist.
between his eyes, and I take the shot.
Excellent. Okay, make me a reflexes check.
9.
9. You just, it skims the side of his head, but just deeply enough so that his fucking brains go blasting out the side of his head, and where they spray onto the floor and mingle with the gin that had come from, you know, like, I don't know, they knocked over a shelf. There's gin everywhere. That's why the man was all wet. So you cap him in the side of the head, and he falls and he dies on the floor. And as he death rattles like in Hearthstone, and he says, "The vodka revolutionary front will rise again." Actually, he's taken quite a long time to die. This is just embarrassing at this point. So you walk over and you just sort of give him a kick, and he stops moving. Do you want to do anything? How do you react? How do you feel? You just gunned down a dangerous man.
I put the gun back in the waistband of my jeans with the safety on, obviously. I mean, I'm drunk,
with the safety
but I'm
on
not
because
insane.
you are intelligent enough, Charlie, to know that you should never put a gun in your waistband without putting the safety on. Unfortunately, what you've forgotten is there are no bullets in the gun, so putting the safety on is completely pointless.
Good point. But I'm drunk.
Okay, so... but you do it. You're like, yeah, exactly. You're double safe. Okay. Well, there are no bullets in this gun, but I wouldn't want it to go off anyway. I mean, why take the chance? I know it's very unlikely, but pays to be safe, doesn't it?
I go outside and I attempt to talk to the manager, but instead I'm so desperate for gin that I actually just lick his coat in an attempt to soak up some of the alcohol.
Okay, you actually try to talk to him, but like some primal force just takes over, and you find yourself like sort of almost lurching at him and just licking the front of his shirt. He's like a bit shaken by this, but also kind of quite flattered. Like he doesn't get licked very often. That came out wrong. Okay, so as you're doing this, you realise there is a man stood immediately behind you. He has robes that cover his face. He is very, very mysterious, and you are impressed by how mysterious he is. I cannot impress upon you how mysterious this man is, other than to say very, very mysterious.
I turn around to face him and ask him who the fuck he is.
Who the fuck are you? He goes, "I am an old man, very mysterious. I am very impressed. Not many people have the strength of spirit." Do you get it? Strength of spirit, because, spirit, gin is a spirit, and it's very strong. Yes. So, strength of spirit, yeah. Not many people have the strength of spirit. Get it? It's a joke. Okay. Strength of spirit to stand... This man is pissed off. He's been interrupted by the narrator 3 times now. Okay, he's very angry. "I am impressed. Not many people have the strength of spirit to stand up to the vodka revolutionary front. Here, take this. You have earned it, my child." He holds out a tiny, tiny bottle of gin. It's nestled in his palm. It is the fanciest fucking bottle of gin you've ever seen in your life. It is fantastic, scintillating, almost incandescent, almost rainbowy. It is the most incredible gin you think you've ever seen in your life. And he holds it out as if to give it to you. What do you do?
I take it and run home.
You just run.
I just
actually run off into the rain. Okay,
I'm probably
right,
staggering all over the place into the road in front of cars.
Yeah. I mean, like no. That's the thing, like, because it's quite a busy street. Actually, it turns out. So like, none of them hit you. You're very lucky. But they are just like swerving all over the place. They kill several children. Luckily, there's no CCTV, so you can't be blamed. You manage to, you get halfway home, and you stand there in the middle of the road, panting. You are so fucking thirsty, Charlie. You have a perishing thirst. If only there was something you had that you could drink to rid you of this perishing thirst.
I open the gin, and I take a sip.
The gin hits the back of your throat like a familiar, refreshing, yet burning wave. After all, gin is pretty fucking strong. You are drinking this neat, I should say. You didn't get any tonic at the shop.
That's true. Why didn't I do that?
"This is damn good gin. It's the best gin you've ever tasted. But something is wrong. The world begins to spin and fade. Your legs give out from underneath you, and as you fall backwards onto the hard tarmac... It's also gin-soaked. You were supposed to drink it in the shop. I've written gin-soaked floor you were supposed to drink this in the shop, but that's fine. You drink it on a street, which apparently there's also gin there. The rain is gin. Why not? The rain is gin. So there's gin fucking everywhere, okay? And as you fall back and you bang your head on the floor, you see standing above you the mysterious man. And as you fall, you see under his hood for the first time a terrifying sight. With a silent cry of horror, you see not a face, but a gaping black void under the fabric, and a rainbow neon smile looking back at you.
What a good place to leave a podcast.
Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next week with another podcast, probably.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
We'll see how long it takes
Maybe
to
with
edit
a guest.
this. But yes, we will have a guest on next week. I don't know who it's going to be, but we shall see.
Anyone but Sam. Sam really wants to be on the podcast, and I think he'll be really good on the podcast, and that's why we have to arbitrarily not let him on for ages. Podcast, pop podcast, podcast, pop podcast. It's a fucking podcast. It's a podcast.